everyone and welcome to Mickey Art. My name is Michelle Edhouse and I'm an artist as well as many other things, and one of the things that I have done in the past that you guys have all seen me do is paint mugs. If you haven't seen me do it, there'll be a link in the description to the playlist of all the mugs that I've done in the past. And when I'm painting mugs, I use, where's one where you can actually see the size? I use Pebeo Porcelaine 150. Let me show it to you on this one, that's better. And the cool thing about this product is it's designed to, once you've baked it in the oven, to be dishwasher safe. Now, one thing I have found, when we put silicone in it, it changes it just a little bit, and yeah, I found that it starts to pull away and peel where there was a cell formed, so where the silicone was. So I'm not going to put any silicone in this time. Some of my painted ones that I have done, nearly a year ago, I was doing those back when Mum got sick last year, so that was June. They're looking pretty tatty, and I was in Spotlight today, and they're obviously getting rid of them because they're on clearance for $1 a piece. How does it get any better than that? They're normally like $13 a bottle here in New Zealand, so I was like, yep, I'm having those. Yay! But the only two colours I could find in the porcelain paint were pink and blue. Baby blue and quite a, I think it's called fuchsia. Let me just check. Yes, fuchsia. So there's my two colours. So I did find in my stash some leftover Vitria 160, which is actually their glass paint, but you still bake it and it still becomes dishwasher resistant, not dishwasher proof, which these ones apparently are, but dishwasher resistant. So I'm going to use those. This is medium gloss white, and the blue and the pink, and let's see what magic we can create. Really, I'm just going to pour. The way I've got my mug set up is I have it stuck to an empty tin with some blue tack, poster putty, whatever you want to call that stuff. I use a lot, but basically all we're wanting to do is get that rim up off the ground by quite a bit, because you usually have quite a bit of runoff on these. As you can see, this is an old mug out of my cupboard. I think it actually came out of my husband's truck. No idea where it came from. It's been well cleaned, and we're good to go. So let's make this mug great again. I'm not going to use that tin. Sometimes when my kids do the cleaning, they don't get all the grease from the tuna out of it. So I need to make sure that I use one that's not got lots of grease in it. And all I'm going to do is bend to make a spout. And then we're just going to pour, I'm going to layer them in. Going to do a bit of a dirty cup pour. So what's a dirty cup pour, Michelle? A dirty cup pour is where you have, let's tilt you down so you can see. That's not very stable. Let's move you out of the way and put that on something a bit more stable and bring you in here. Dun, dun, dun. So dirty cup is where you pour into from up high and let the paints mix together. Usually it creates all sorts of interesting creations, and that's what I'm looking to create. Now this stuff is actually quite a thick paint, which is quite good when you're pouring on a 3D object, and so it's a lot thicker and you get a lot less of the melding together than you would in a more liquid paint. So basically this is just ending up looking like a layered cup, and that's totally fine. I'm good with that. And last one, we don't need a lot of paint, to be honest, to do a whole cup. So I think I worked out you need about one of these to do a mug from memory, and these are 45 ml. Bless me. So let's get those out of the way and bring back the star of the show. Dun, dun, dun. Our mug. Might just tilt this camera up a little bit more. There we go. So we're gonna just start to pour. The first time I go around, I always stop once I get right round and just make sure the whole mug gets covered. If you're quite happy to have gaps, sort of like humpy gaps, then just do what you like. I like mine completely covered. Make sure though that you don't go over the edge. Try and keep it on the outside. They do not recommend that you put this stuff where your food is going to go, where it can get scratched by utensils and spoons and stuff. So try and keep it below the rim, and that way it is going to create more ease. If it does go inside the cup, you can clean it out while it's still wet, but try not to, once it's been poured and dried, try not to then break that seal by chipping it away. So as you can see, you've got those runs, and I'm just gonna moisten the whole mug by rubbing my finger down and just get that whole thing covered. Keeping it inside. So it turns out that the white is not that white. It's called medium white, and it is more of a translucent whole, but that's fine. Who knows what we're going to see through it with this process. So now that I've got the whole cup covered, I'm going to go back and pour again. I know some people get a bit agitated with me not doing the handles, but the handles are a pain to do. Just allowing small amounts to run down. Take it easy and keep going around and creating more layers. When I finish this round, I'm going to pause and just again bring some of the stuff that's running off up, because what's happening is, just like in any liquid, it finds the easiest way to get down a slope, and then everybody chases after all the other bits that have already led the pathway. So by going along around the bottom like this and touching and saying, no, 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 come this way. And now this paint dries a lot faster than normal acrylic paint, but you do have time to play with it. No idea what's going to happen on this painting, just like with any other normal acrylic painting, acrylic pour. You are not in control of the end result. Just picking up what's dropped off and filling it in. I've still got paint in my can, but I just want to make sure that we've got paint running down, because these bits I'm doing with my finger don't actually look that particularly great at the end, so you want more paint to run over it. Quite liking this result we're getting though, it's quite funky. So I'm going to go the other way this time, just because I'm choosing to be different. Because I know that there's paint all the way around, I'm just going to keep going until I run out of paint. In my cup, and I'll hopefully be able to switch to the top one, and that will show you the streams that are coming out of the pot are multi-layers of colour. I've got 3 or 4 lines of blue and 3 or 4 lines of the red, and where they're combined to make purple. It's looking super cool. I actually might just stop there, to be honest, otherwise it's just all going to run off. Look at that. That's funky! Funky monkey! Alright, I hear some of you saying, what are you going to do with this leftover paint? Well, what I'm going to do is, now that I've done that, come back and fill in the rest. Paint the handle. You might, if you've got big fat fingers, mine are getting close to that, you may want to use something other than your finger to do this. Yep. Backdrop nearly falling over. Just use a spatula or a lollipop stick or something like that, and just pick it up and pour it on. Making sure you cover all the spaces, because it can't go back and fix it afterwards. Notice how it's still dripping off. It is runny paint. Getting up underneath the handle and getting the inside of the handle done. It's a bit technical. I'm quite liking the purple that these two colours are making actually. The other area that I've found is a bit of a place to concentrate is the edges of the handles. It's really easy to end up with tiny little thin bits of colour. And then I'm just going to pick up some of this multicoloured stuff and drizzle it down the handle. So that it can run down and give us some layers. Now it's quite subtle. How well is it coming over? What this medium white is looking like is it's kind of creating a 3D effect. I don't know if you can see that. Sort of like suspending the colours apart, which is quite funky. And I think if I keep going, it's gonna, oh, I spot a spot that's not got any paint. If I keep going, it's not going to actually make any better effect. Although what I am going to do is just give it a quick bubble check. I can see some bubbles and I'm not sure they're going to pop for me. So, the instructions on this say leave it to dry for 24 hours and then bake in the oven for at 150 degrees C, which is 300 degrees Fahrenheit, for 35 minutes. And what I highly suggest you do is run round with a stick or something, collecting the drips. And just try and, as it dries, try and get it to stop dripping. Otherwise you're going to have an uneven layer. Like little drip marks that will make the cup a bit wobbly. I have poured the other way around so that the wobbly drip bits are on the top. It's not particularly comfortable to drink out of. So I'm going to leave it to dry. And I'll be back once it is dry and baked and show you the end result. So, haere and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. It's the next day. We've had 24 hours dry time. Now, it's nowhere near as pretty as it would have been if that was actual white and not like a transparent kind of thing. But it's definitely better than the white boring mug that we had before. I've got a couple of little dribble marks in there from where it's dribbled down off the handle, but they're totally fine. There's a little air bubble in a couple of places, but they should be fine as well. What I wanted to show you before I pop it in the oven is these little drip marks. As you can see, I did a very good job of cleaning the bottom, but it was just those last few drips that I didn't manage to get off because I didn't come back every 5 seconds. So all I'm going to do is grab a sharp blade and just run round and cut. Just going to really cleanly cut through first all the way around, and make sure you're cutting in, like so. Here's the paint, cutting from the paint away and not out towards the paint, because that can drag it off and you can create bubbles or holes under the paint. So just keep that blade angling away from the outside, and then once you've gone all the way around, then you can go in and start peeling the rest off. And at this point, before it gets fired, it does just peel straight off, so be very, very aware of what you're doing with your fingers on the outside there. But because we've been around with the blade, we're just peeling that off. And don't have to worry about it ripping down the side. Clean it all up. Make sure you do any of this cleaning before you fire it, because as soon as you put it in the kitchen oven for your 35 minutes at 150 degrees C or 300 degrees Fahrenheit, you're screwed. It ain't coming off that easy. And as you can see, I did a pretty good job of keeping it on the outside of the cup, because you can see at the bottom, this is a well-used mug, you can see those scratch marks from the spoon stirring, and if that had been this paint, it would have broken the paint. The bacteria and stuff can get in underneath, and then that can cause you to get sick. The paint itself, according to all the reading I've done, the paint itself is not toxic, but you just don't want bugs and things getting in underneath and growing and making you sick, because we've already got enough of that stuff going on in the world at the moment. So I'm going to go fire it. As I said, let me write it down so that you all understand me, because I've been quizzed about my accent before. So we need it to be 35 minutes at 150 degrees C, which is the same as 300 degrees Fahrenheit. There you go. And just in the kitchen oven is fine. I've had people telling me that you've got to use a non-food oven and things like that. I do this so irregularly, and I use the oven so irregularly for food. I'm not really worried about it. So I'll be back once it's fired to show you the end result. So here it is, nice and cooked. I must say my bubble lines down the handle aren't looking great. Not sure how long this is going to last, and it's got a very painful little bit there, right where your finger sits, or where mine does anyway. It's different, it's pretty, it's not anywhere near like any of my other mugs, but hey, it's far better than that ugly white mug that came in out of Glenn's truck. Anyway guys, I've had fun, I hope you have. We had our first of the Patreon live this morning, and those are drying, and you'll get to see those once they are finished. Oh, look how disgusting my oven door is. Yuck. And so if you want to join us on those, we're going live every day for 14 days. You guys get to pick the colours and what I paint on and what sort of painting I do, and it's only $10 US, so head on over to Patreon, search for me, Mickey Art, and come play with us. Anyway, have fun. I adore you. Hope you're staying well and looking after your bodies and your friends and families. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow when I've got a really exciting looking result to show you tomorrow. Bye bye.